For years, I've kept a list of every bit of pro wrestling advice I have heard or I have given. In fact, there's more than 500 entries now. I combed through all of it and picked for you the 5 bits of wrestling advice more relevant right now than ever before. I'm Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. If you are struggling to break through in a bigger way, and you want greater success in professional wrestling, subscribe right now. If you've ever taken a look at my Patreon, you have probably seen that I dispense wrestling advice every single Tuesday. It's called Tidbit Tuesday. And in order to be able to do that for years upon years now, I have had to collect all the pro wrestling advice that I've ever heard, that I've ever given in one repository so that I can refer back to it whenever I need to. And as I happen to be working on my next book, I have been going back through it, realizing there's more than 500 entries on this list. And so I went through my list with a thought for what pro wrestlers need now. What's going on in our industry, in our art form today? And after going through all of them, I picked out just 5 for you. Starting with, you don't need to go over to get over. Have you ever heard this wrestling advice before? It means that you don't need to be booked to win matches or even come out on top at the end of storylines or angles in order to get over with wrestling fans. This is a fallacy. There are innumerable ways that you can get over with wrestling fans. You can get over by the way you work the crowd. You can get over if they like your character. You can get over with wrestling fans through the work of one promo. You can get over with our audience through nothing more than a great entrance. You can get over with fans just by selling and nothing else. And I know it's easy to get fixated on the idea that you have to come out on top somehow in order for the audience to love you. But I'm going to throw in a second piece of wrestling advice I love to intone frequently on this one, which is people don't care about the wrestler who always wins. They care about the wrestler who always tries. And as long as you are trying and you're constantly showing that effort, you're not afraid sometimes to struggle in front of the audience, they will make the emotional investment in you. And that is the secret to getting over, not going over. Incidentally, if you'd like my insight and advice on how to connect with fans, how to add tension to your matches, how to show up ready for the demands of a live event, I cover all that and a whole bunch more in Toolbox Building Better Pro Wrestling. My book is available over on Amazon.com, and if you hate reading, don't sweat it, because I narrate the audiobook version myself. Please grab it over on Audible. Here's the second piece of advice I pulled for you. Learn every role that a wrestling company could need, and you will never be out of work. The reality is, injuries crop up when we least expect them, and they can force us to the sideline for weeks, months, in some extreme cases, years, or perhaps one day you will realize your bump card is all punched up and your body has no more bumps to give. Well, if you're like me and you're incredibly passionate about this weird, wonderful thing called pro wrestling, then you know this is what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life. And so that you have opportunities to avail yourself of, you need to learn how to do other roles. You need to learn the skill set involved in being a great referee. You need to learn how to be a stickman that conducts interviews, or how to produce a live stream from backstage at gorilla position. This snuck up on me more than 10 years ago. I happened to be in a tag match with my wrestling idol, Jushin Thunder Liger, at the Meadowlands in New Jersey when this happened. And after I shattered my right leg, I was under the impression I would never wrestle again. But thankfully, I had always been interested in commentary. Thank you, Bobby and Gorilla. And so I spent a lot of the years that followed getting really good at being a commentator before I was ever cleared to return to the ring. During that interim period, I could have ended up doing and contributing nothing. So make sure that you also learn these other roles in the world of wrestling so that if you find yourself sidelined for any reason, you've still got work to do. I don't mean for this third bit of advice to sting at all, but if you've had to watch as much North American wrestling this year as I have, there's a slight chance it will. Here we go. Treat every pin like you are winning the title at WrestleMania. The third act of a wrestling match is sometimes referred to as the climax. And as you build to an effective climax, not just in any match, but in any story that you tell, you've got to get the tension to rise. That's the whole function of Act 2. In fact, in wrestling, an alternate term for Act 2, the heat, is the rising tension. If you want your conclusion to feel more climactic, then your attempts to win the match must be possessed of a certain energy, an energy which is completely absent from those wildly lazy lateral presses, the absence of a pinning combination. I'm barely applying any coverage to the shoulder blades of my opponent, thinking that's going to win the match. If you want the tension to rise and aid you in having better climaxes in your matches, then just treat every pin like you're about to win the title at WrestleMania. The fourth one I've got for you is an oldie but a goodie. You can't stuff 5 pounds of sausage into a 1 pound sack. Or, in other words, you're not going to be able to jam 30 spots into your 8-minute match. They just aren't going to fit. And if you are rushing, or you are wrestling faster than the comprehension level of the live audience, the truth is, you are wrestling for no one. The last one I've got for you desperately needs to be said out loud, but I want you to know it comes from a place of love, okay? Don't be the next Bray Wyatt. Be the first you. Don't be the next Mercedes Moné. Be the first you. Paying tribute or homage to, honoring, in some cases just copying what someone else has done in the past or is doing right now, it's running rampant to an alarming degree. And wrestling doesn't need any more of that. What it needs is your unique ideas, creativity, charisma, and energy. It needs you to be you. But if all you're doing is the moves and spots, if all you're doing is playing another band's songs, then you have relegated yourself to being just a cover band. And cover bands don't change the world. It's time for you to pen some original hits of your own, something that you yourself can be proud of. Bring your creative energies to this process, and don't be content with simply imitating those who have inspired you before.